What do you want to do with your life? What do you want to do right now? What do you want to do with a Friday night? We're watching Paradise Valley Podcast, baby. We are back. Joined by my co-host, Pat Jamross. What's going on, dude?
Feels good to be back. It's been a while, but we felt like the Valley needed some takes in their system heading into the weekend.
Yeah, it's busy. You had no surgery, doing all right and everything.
Yeah, we're back. We got 2 wins with the surgery, so we'll take that pain for a couple W's in the Valley.
Yeah, I like it. Very true. Dappy, how we doing, man?
We're doing about as good as 1 and 6 can be doing, I guess.
Yeah, we'll get right into it. But just want to take a second. We were just saying the podcast, the background this year has just been it's been pretty good. So cracking up at this background right here, and appreciate everything our producer's doing. So just wanted to get
Guy
that
doesn't
shout out.
miss. Guy does not miss.
1 and 6 and still hitting. So let's get into the recaps from last week. All right. So Pat, you want to start us off? And like we talked about, we're just gonna do this real quick, and then we got a little special something in the middle of the show. So we're gonna run through these pretty quick.
Yeah, I'll fly through this one. I think Dap had everyone going at 1, and he threw up a tough 73.
Except for Hurts, but still.
Except for Hurts, yeah. And then Caleb had Kamara, JT, Debo all going in prime time. So it was, even with the dot out of Mahomes at the 1 o'clock, it was still almost all but done. Caleb ended up almost hitting those projections, which is kind of shocking and scary. And that the people keep dropping their best games on Dap, but there's not much Dap can say when he only puts up 73 this week.
Yeah, it's all I'll say on this one. It's weird at 2:30 to have 1 point between your quarterback and your tight end and to be feeling really, really good. Weird matchup, but just the way the schedule worked out, or the timing of the games worked out, and Dap having a lot of fun again, really getting them. It was interesting week. Happy to get the dab.
Tough.
All right, quickly on this. Looks a little bit, 15-point game here, but obviously came down to Monday night. Callaway against DK. DK just striking early, and nothing else happening for the rest of that fucking game. Just an absolute horrible football game. So little uneventful despite the close matchup all of Sunday, but it just felt like the better team got the W here. Darrell Williams didn't really show up. Big pickup. Callaway as a second wide receiver. OJ Howard, all just kind of plug and play, or not plug and play, just toss in there, see what happens, and none of them really hit. So not too surprising. Big wins for Kirch. We'll see if he can roll some wins together. Obviously, running backs are looking a little tough here.
Yeah, and I was watching the game with Sandman, and the guy must have went through like 5 to 6 different tight ends that he was going to fill in for Waller. He had guys at 1 o'clock that he was too nervous to start, with Waller going at 4, and then I think he talked about like Mo Alley Cox, the backup for the Raiders, and maybe one other guy, and they all found the end zone. And OJ Howard had a cool 1.4. And then Pittman, he also took him out because of the rain. So if he plays the right tight end with Pittman, he's probably walking away with a win. So that's tough.
Yeah. Tough year for Shane, man. 2-5, but obviously big matchup. We'll get into that, though. Little foreluding, I guess, getting into his next opponent here, but C-Mac finally got a win off the Schneid. Another close one.
Yeah, another close one, and it's just like, congrats on the win, C-Mac. You finally got in that column this year, but what the hell are you doing playing Le'Veon Bell in the flex when you can just go to the waivers and find close your eyes and pick a wide receiver, and they do better than what Le'Veon Bell was going to do? It's just it's clearly not there, and you feel like it's never been there. And that's what I think drove the Valley so crazy over the past 2 years, that he got those championships. Cause it's like the fantasy mind is not there. If I had to rank the top 10 Valley members and like how good they are at fantasy, like C-Mac's easily last, which makes it sickening that he got 2 chips, but let's as the league get him in that clown suit.
Yeah, I was talking to him Sunday morning and just perplexed by some of his responses. That's all I'll say on that. But the other thing too, looking at his keeper situation, obviously, because that's kind of all he's got to worry about at this point, unless he can make a miraculous run. just thinking back to him picking Najee in the first round instead of waiting to pick him around the horn at 2 in the second round, and then just going, "You're right, I should have done that," was just sticks in my mind. Funny shit.
Yep. Good pickup by Johnson for Sheehan there. That was a nice little plug and play in Bimageddon week.
Yeah, for sure. ACL tears, big loss to the East Coast Cobras. Another solid performance from the Cobras. They're quietly putting together a couple of nice weeks here. Even without like Joe Mixon with an average game, and same for Patterson. He's turning into a pretty consistent, reliable RB2, which is very nice for Ross. But
Sure.
obviously nice
Much
to see
needed.
AJ. Oh yeah, AJ Brown coming back, big time. Needed to see that, and then Goddard with Ertz gone, I think is pretty solid tight end. And what do you have? Giuseppe on your bench too?
Yeah.
So you got
We like our tight end situation. Wideouts is still kind of, I mean, we need it. We need this out of AJ Brown going forward, but it's still, Kupp's getting every single look in that LA offense. It's tough for Woods to really go anything more than what he kind of did last week with 12. So we gotta figure some of those things out.
Yep. And then Lane at 5-2, like, I don't know, a quarterback decision every week is an interesting one, but now he's got Herbert, obviously, so that'll help a lot. But it's an interesting 5-2 team, that's for sure. Like, we're doing power rankings. I'll go ahead and spoil what our next feature is here, but Lane, I think, was the toughest one for me to figure out where exactly to put, honestly. I kind of ranged from like 2 to like 6 or 7. I wasn't really sure where to put him, but we'll see. I got him this week.
The comment that I've been saving for the pod all week, and it's what's so frustrating out of the Zach Moss for Herbert trade. Like, this is what Lane's team is, where he puts up 103 with his QB putting up 2.48. And now we give him arguably a top 10 overall NFL QB with the potential to be top 10 fantasy wise. So it just feels like that missing piece only for a guy who may split carries. And, it kind of felt like a win now or the season may be lost. So I get why he had to make the move with the QB. It's just, I feel like he could have been a little more stubborn with Lane, because Lane was his trade partner all along with those 2 QBs Dap has. And I don't know. I just feel like looking at his like Mitchell, Fournette, Swift, even Kareem Hunt before he got injured. So it's like he traded him arguably his like 5th best running back for a top 10 QB. Like, that just hurts. And it feels like the ACLs can be dangerous because of that.
As we saw last night, ACLs can be dangerous picking up guys and just having them tear their ACL. So anyone who gets picked up by this squad is prone to injury. It's pretty fucked. Let's go to the last matchup.
I'll take this one real quick. Dim, I mean, keeps flying under the radar. Mike Evans, he thanked the Valley for not taking advantage of him after week 1, and the guy is just finding the end zone week after week. I really like Damian Harris too. It seems like, Stevenson keeps getting healthy scratch, so he's their guy in New England.
Did he get traded for A-Rob? Do I remember that right?
Yeah. D Brown's like 4th pick, maybe even 3rd. No, I think it was 4th. So D Brown's been wheeling and dealing under the radar, not saying much in the group, but it's a little scary seeing Gibson kind of be on the injury report every week. And then we'll get into it later, but Eckler, but Dim was another tough team that I had ranking, because he's producing, he's got great points for, and he's got a pretty good squad, but I don't know. There's a few question marks there for me to make him as like a real championship contender.
I think you and I are going to have very different top 10s or 10s.
I'm interested.
Me too. All right. Yeah. Go to standings, Dappy. All right. How do we want to do this? We want to do like.
I just wanted to touch on a point before we get into the rankings, because I don't think everyone really looks on the online version. Like, I know Daryl just uses the app, but they have this little playoff percent, and mine's even gone down a little bit. So is Kirch's, but it was kind of crazy. Like, Sandman's Dap's moved to the lowest. Sandman was the lowest earlier in the week. It looks like ACL tears have gone down a little bit. So as the Dogs, but I thought it was crazy for me looking at it. I was tied for the last spot in the playoffs, and I had a 14% chance of making it. So, but something cool to check out for the league. We know ESPN isn't always on with their final standings projections, as CMAC's been like the sixth for the last 3 weeks. But a nice little aspect. You love to see our app that we use evolving and doing some cool shit like this.
Yeah, I love to see a 96 next to my name. So
Yeah, I would bet.
all right. We want to do like each give our number one and then number two, or do you think that's going to get too confusing and just go through it my 10, then your 10? Or
I think we can each do it.
like
Or Dap, what do you think's the best?
Yeah, let's Dap make the call.
I think we should first take a second to acknowledge that Daryl has 62 moves and the next most person has 28.
It's insane. He must be like up there for most in ESPN leagues. But he'll pick a player up, drop him like 30 minutes later, pick him back up 30 minutes later. It's just insane.
I think you should both reveal like down as you go, like 1,
Right.
1, 2, 2.
Let's start from 10 though.
Yeah. Start from the
10.
bottom.
All right, C-Mac, my last pick.
Yeah, I think we're both gonna agree on that. C-Mac's bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. All right, I got Trev at 9.
Yeah, I got Sandman too. Team's just not doing it for me. And if you told me in 8 weeks, 9 weeks, Sandman's in the clown suit by like multiple games, I would not be that surprised. And I know we're all rooting for C-Mac, but Sandman just doesn't have it this year.
Yeah, it didn't start off. I mean, Edmonds had a decent night, but Connor scoring 2 touchdowns on 22 yards or something like that is just tough. Who you got at 8?
Spartans.
Same.
I feel like the bottom 3 is pretty. It's basically, I don't want to a lot can still happen, but just looking at the standings right now, there's 3 tied for first and 4 tied for fourth. It's almost like a 7-team league, and the other 3 are kind of fighting. A lot can happen. A lot's left. I could see Dap or Sandman getting hot and getting to 5 and 6 or 4 and 5, something like that, and getting back in it. But who knows? It feels like a 7-team league right now.
Yeah, I agree. Who you got at 7 then?
I got the Trippers. The team just doesn't do it for me right now. Are we spot on?
Spot on still, brother.
I feel like this is where we're gonna vary, and you're probably gonna have me, but I got the Silver Knights at 6.
Yeah, I have you at 6. Talk about well, first of all, just real quick on Kirch, between Kirch, and you and Sheehan, those are my next 3. I was kind of looking at 5, 6, 7, all right, I think Kirch is probably the bottom of that barrel just because of the RB situation he's got going on right now. But I thought you 3 were kind of close right there.
Definitely.
And even I'll put whoever I have at 4, was kind of in that consideration too.
No, yeah. I mean, the Tripper is the reason. It was tight, and all between, like you said, 4 and 7 was pretty tight, and 2 and 3 were pretty tight. But I don't know, just the fact that he has Mark Ingram this week and Melvin Gordon, and Kirch is a trader, but he hasn't really been active. And I just look at his bench and I'm like, why do you have? I get Lamar was out this week, so it's like let's get Joey B a week before to plug him in. But why is Ryan Tannehill there? Why is there's some other people on his bench that I'm just like, you're really not. And I've always said this with Kirch, he just
Samuel.
doesn't. Yeah, Curtis Samuel. It's like you don't really try for depth, and now it's like you clearly need it. I don't know. I've been trying to send some trades over, and he texted me back. He's like, not dodging you, working. So I know it's crazy with the win, but I don't know. It feels like the guy needs to make a move prior to Sunday at 1 p.m. and get himself an RB to fill in for Mark Ingram.
We were pretty close on a trade Tuesday. And the asking price was just too high for me. And I was just like, man, you need this more than I do.
Yeah,
I'm in this spot of luxury right now. I'm not going to make a trade I feel somewhat questionable about. If I don't have to make a trade, that's fine by me. But it was just a little surprising to me that he's comfortable, which I guess is a show of confidence. But I agree. He's got to make a move.
Yeah, and then I think for me with Sheehan 6, I'm going to be a little more confident in my team than others probably are, but kind of similar to Kurt. Like there was 1 week where he was about to play AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones. So it's like a nice luxury to have where if Jones or Cook goes down, but besides that, it's tough for him. And I'm just Lockett stocks down massive. I think Lockett and Thielen, who really lit it up for him at the beginning of the year, kind of on the downtrend for me. Stafford was a nice backup plan for Wilson, but I don't know. I feel like week 3, week 4, we were crowning Sheehan the regular season champion, and now it just feels like it's a completely different team.
Yeah, I mean, to counter that point, I just think that having Cook and Jones, like 2 top 10 backs there, and then Jamar Chase has obviously come on. I guess I'm a little more confident in Thielen. I mean, he's going to get touchdowns, and he looks good before the bye. So I've got confidence in him. And then Kittle coming back, I just felt like there was a little bit more potential upside there for Sheehan than for you. But I think both your teams are right there in my mind as far as like they have the potential and the makings to go on a long run. It's just, are the pieces going to fall the right way? And I thought Sheehan had a little bit more of a likely opportunity to get there, especially with those.
No, I feel that.
I'm a Mason hater too after last year.
I mean, we're trying to survive with Saquon out. I mean, I don't think Carson's going to play anytime soon, so he may be out for a while. And I mean, it's the common theme. The wide receivers, they've been a lot better than they were at the beginning of the year, but I need a Julio out. Kyler throwing up a dot. I know we'll get into this later, but I need a big game out of AJ Brown. Keeper should have kept DeAndre Swift. Was going to do it all off season and then jumped off at the end.
All right, so we've got the same bottom 6. It's just that I have Sheehan 5, you 6, and you have you 5. Or actually, you haven't said yet, have you? Who's your 5?
No, I'm 5. I'm 5.
Okay,
I'm not gonna get crazy. I do think
enough.
we're gonna be a playoff team, but right now we're not.
Who do you got it for? I got D.
I think it's good. Okay, I got the ACL tears,
All
but
right.
I don't even know how he wants it pronounced.
I'm saying tears because they fucking keep tearing their ACL.
You know, it felt wrong to put Lane down there, and it felt like it's kind of common, the theme that I've been going, which is shitting on Lane, and he's got a really good squad. It's just, I don't know, it just didn't feel like it was it. It just feels like, is Leonard Fournette going to keep being what he's doing? Is Elijah Mitchell going to keep getting, he put a little scare into me on Sunday night with that first drive, but is he going to keep like completely out touching the rest of the San Fran backfield when Shanahan's always been a split carry type of guy? Calvin Ridley's really hasn't looked that good. I think he had like 8 points, 9 points with a touchdown last week. So, I mean, Adams and Kelsey, you know what they're going to be, but I don't know. I still see him probably being a playoff team, but I don't think and you can even see it with the points, like 7-7-4 compared to like Dim's a lot more, Lane or Sheehan's a lot more. You're obviously a lot more. Darrow's got more. So it's like, he's got a good record, but if Sandman plays Odell, if he doesn't have these close, low scoring wins, he's a completely different team right now.
Yeah, I've got Lane 3 and D Brown 4, and this is tight for me. Like, I feel like I just think Lane's team's deeper. I think knowing Hunt's coming back, hopefully paired with Swift, Mitchell, Fournette, and I guess Booker and Singletary are not great options. They're probably both backups down the long haul, but I think that's 4 decent backs, and then Adams, Ridley, Deontay Johnson, and T. Higgins. That's another sort of 4 solid wide receivers there you can probably start most weeks. So a little bit of a deeper team, but looking at D Browns with the emergence of Pitts and Tom Brady, I think is the number 1 quarterback in fantasy, or number 2.
He's 1. Kyler snuck ahead of him, but that's just because he has the added game right now.
Oh, okay, got you. Yep, and then obviously CMC coming back is a scary sight. So I just had to.
I think that's why I have D3. So I have Lane 4, D3, just because of you know, he's really feels like he's surviving with CMC. If you could have told him, I mean, I hate to say it, but he's looking real good for this week so far. If you were told him he's 5-3 with CMC playing what 1-2 games, he would definitely take that. I like the combination of CD and DJ Moore. I know I'm completely kind of contradicting myself from a couple weeks ago. I don't love Hubbard. I don't love him this week. I don't love him in general. I don't think he's that great. I'm not gonna completely stand on the James Robinson hill. I think he's been doing good and he's a pretty solid player. I just don't like the Jags, and I don't like the Jags offense, and that's kind of been where I've been coming from all along. I know the undrafted take's been getting replayed, but you know,
I'll
I
make
think
a take right now. He's gonna suck the rest of the year. He's gonna suck the rest of the year.
that's what I'm like. I just
He's
don't
averaging.
see him.
He's had 80 over the last 4 weeks. He's not gonna have more than he'll have 2 20-point games the rest of the year max.
I just that's exactly like I see them being down and sure that could lead to like drop off catches, but he's more of like a runner than a catcher in my mind. And I think I saw something today. If he goes over 70 yards and scores a touchdown, he'd be the first player since Sean McCoy in 2012 or 2000, some earlier in the 2010s. So he's on a good little stretch right now, but I can see it getting slowed down. And even that game in Miami or against Miami, he looked bad for most of it and then really heated up at the right time. And that's fantasy. But I don't know. I just, what he was drafted as and what D's hyping him up to be, I just don't think he's, when all players are healthy, like top 15 fantasy running back. So it's hard not to have him be a topic on this with discussions in the group, and I'm sure this will get some buzz again. But I mean, I'm liking his team, and I think he'll be like a good contributor, like probably a good RB2 flex guy for D for rest of the season. But I don't know. He's been manning for D right now, but for an RB1, I just don't see it in the production he's been doing. I think I'm just not in on the Jags offense. That's where it comes down to.
I hear that. Yeah, for me, the reason I had Lane above Darrow is the bench. Like I do like Michael Carter. I feel like he looks like a pretty solid player in the NFL, and I think the Jets can only get better on offense. Like obviously Flacco is in now, so maybe that'll provide some stability versus having a rookie. I don't really know, but Carter's all right. Is my point there. The rest of the bench though, like I don't really love. Like Sermon's. I would not be trading for Trey Sermon. He's not good. Murray, I don't know. Yeah, honestly. OBJ, I thought that was a bad trade, to be honest with you. So the bench was the big difference, but I think honestly D Brown's got the highest upside between him and Lane. All right, number 2, I got Joe Dem. Who you got?
Yeah, damn. I mean, it's pretty clear who the one team in this league is. But yeah, like I said, there's some question marks with Dim, just with mostly injury related with Gibson and Eckler. But I really like what he's got there. I mean, when those two guys are there, that's a solid 1-2 combination. He's got Evans. I'm trying to think of I'm pulling up
Mike Williams
right now. Mike Williams. Well, I mean, that'll be a big.
Judy's coming back.
Yeah, I think Dim goes as far as Mike Williams takes him, but like if he can continue to be what Mike Williams has been, which is probably like a top 10 fantasy wide receiver picked up from waivers, like that, Dim will thrive off of that. And then I alluded to the Damian Harris. I think that was a really good trade for Dim. He was him and I were talking running backs for a while. He's been really trying to find a third running back there, and I think he's got a good one. It seems like the Pats really, really like him, although he's had some costly fumbles, which I think if he has 1 or 2 more, he'll really get himself in the doghouse. But and then just like sneaky, which we rarely talk about on the podcast or just fantasy in general. You know, the Bills have a super easy schedule the rest of the way, and their defense is elite. So like, look at it, Miami, Miami, Jacksonville, Jets, Colts, Saints, Pats, and then they play the Bucks in week 14. Like he's starting them every single week going forward, and I can't see them not thriving in a lot of those matchups, like Jameis, Carson Wentz, which you would think would be harder, and Dolphins, Jags, Jets. Like that's juicy. So I like Dim's team. I think he's a top 3 team right now, top 2, and he'll probably be hurt in the end. He'll be in the playoffs unless something happens.
Yeah, no, I
Something
agree.
big.
I think what I would say here, like obviously I have him too right now. It's just like he's got a very solid team. Harris filled a nice hole. Gronk coming back / picking him up Ertz fills in nice. Like that's 2 solid tight ends that you can kind of go back and forth between. The defense and Tucker as his kicker, like, even the little things he's there. But I do think your first point on Eckler and Gibson and the injury risk, like Gibson's playing with broken shit. Like
Yep.
he's feeling it. Washington sucks. He's good. He's young. Like at what point do they say, buddy, hit the showers for the year? Like
Yeah.
get surgery, get better. We'll see you next camp. Like I could see that happening. Is Mike Williams that dude? Like we were talking about it in our chat this morning. Like Keenan Allen's got to come to life here. So I think there's some potential. Like you could poke holes in any team, but if I had to poke holes in Din's team, I think those are 2 guys that have been very solid that could. And again with Harris, like he was not cold when Deep traded him, and now he's hot again. He could get cold again. Who knows? So
Yeah, absolutely.
all right, brag about my team for me, please.
Yeah, I mean, as much as this pains me, I mean, a lot of mutual respect, but still my biggest rival. Like you say you can poke holes in a lot of teams. I think the only hole I can poke in your team right now is tight end. And we all know how invaluable that position can be when you have Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, Debo as your top 3 wideouts. And I think I forget who I was talking to this about, just like where you got them. Like the draft that I think it was Jefferson's 2nd round, which is pretty normal. I forget who you got 3rd round, but to get Kupp,
Mahomes,
Mahomes 3rd, to get Kupp, Darrell Henderson, Debo, and whatever 3 through 7, whatever rounds you got them in, like that is just elite value right there. I think the way the keepers were set up, you had a good added advantage.
I got Debo in the 10th round.
10th round, wow. That is a steal. That was probably the best draft pick right there. But the way the keepers were set up with having Taylor, you already had like a huge advantage, him probably being a top 10 pick and 3rd, 4th round. But then you got the top 3 to add Kamara. So that's a dynamite combination right there. And then I mean, it all goes back to Cooper Kupp. I mean, what he's been doing these first 7 weeks is amazing, unexpected. You can just wheel it out, like projected for 20 points. It's like, who would have thought Cooper Kupp's projected for 20 points? And it'll probably go over that by like 10. So, I mean, it's definitely the clear cut best squad. And, a lot of times left, anything could happen, injuries, people stop producing what they're producing, but it's hard to not see this team as the 1 seed, in my opinion. As much as it pains me to say that, hopefully I'll be that 4 seed and knock them out early. But, I think the added part too, when you think about it, is Mahomes. I'm going to check on him. What's his 5th position rank?
He was number 1 going into last week.
And he's been bad. Like that's as much as you want to say, like, oh, it's team line. Like Mahomes has been throwing picks. He's been having some bad turnovers. Like, yeah, it's just not the guy that we come to know. So if he does become the guy we know, like, that team gets even more scarier. So it's hard to not put them at number 1. And I think the biggest gap in these rankings is 1 to 2, and everything else is a lot closer than that. So there's a little dick sucking for you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, no, the only thing I'll say is for me, just as like manager of this team, looking at it, there's obviously a lot of talent up and down. Looking at the bench, it's like I'm sitting 2 guys who are potential or like projected for, over 14 points or like right at 14 points. Like Devo's at 15 and Khalil Herbert's at 14. And it's like, should I make a trade, fill that tight end hole or, try to trade up, 2 guys for 1 and get a better bench player even like, I don't know. There's a lot of potential moves. And right now I've obviously been standing pat, but I think the big thing I'm debating is do I continue to stand pat or do I, make moves and really go all in? So
I just feel like knowing you as a manager, you're eventually going to make like I wouldn't say a big move, but a move, whether it be like a backup player that you can plug in. It's just like looking at like you said, Khalil Herbert, it almost feels like you can strike before David Montgomery's back. And if I had to put 2 and 2 together, the conversation you and Kirch had was probably catered around that man. And then Gainwell sliding in, although they said Jordan Howard's going to be the starter, it feels like he's got some added value for the next couple of weeks as well. So you could probably strike on those players.
Yeah. Who was the second guy you said? I just got a ping from work.
I said Herbert and then Gainwell.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, cool. All right, let's move into previews.
Yeah, thoughts on the rankings? I mean, we were very similar. Any winners?
Hate to see myself at 7 on both lists, but I can't say it's unfair.
Eight.
I mean, it's either way, not good. But I like the top 4 for each. It's tough. I think like the biggest, like the closest one is obviously like Darrow and Lane at 3 and 4. But I do think they're both top 4 teams that probably see in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I like talking through that because it really made me think about the league like a little more, like hash out those thoughts about who's who.
And it's like we got the added week, so the goal is usually always 8 and 6. 8 and 6 would usually get you into the playoffs. Maybe a tiebreaker, you don't make it. But now it's like, does 8 and 7 get you in? 7 and 8 probably doesn't, but that added week that we haven't had adds some spice to it, keeps you in a week longer. Dap's got 1 win, but in my mind, if I'm Dap, it's like, let's rattle all 5 straight. Like I've seen crazier 6 and 6 heading into the final 3. Like, that was my goal. I was 3 and 3 and I was like, let's get to 6 and 6. And then you got Dap, Mac, Sandman to finish it. So I think 6 and 6 in the final stretch puts you in the playoff race.
I was just looking at the points against when we were like on the standings, and I just got to pray that doesn't hold up because I got Kirch who's 4 and 3 with like not that much more points scored than me, and I have over 100 more points against, and it's like this has got to even out at some point.
It's got to, but Aaron Jones said, no, it doesn't.
We did keep him out of the end zone on pure will last night.
Yeah, that was pretty electric. Tef was just like, it was run foot down. I was like, I don't know. That was pretty tight. Then they reversed it, and then fucking got stuffed or whatever they did. Stuff. And it was electric here at 473.6. But anyways, let's get into previews. Again, we'll go through these pretty quick because I think we're close to 40 minutes here. But let's start with Dr. Shi and the Southeast Spartans. I'll take this one. Obviously, for the Spartans, it's really coming down to, like you just said, getting to 66 and 6, you can make a run. So Dap's not dead in the water, but he's probably most worried about the clown suit at this point. And C-Mac getting off to that hot start, and then Jones going for 20. I don't know. Can't be the best feeling, but I still think, Hurts is putting up points somehow, some way. Henry's a beast, had a slow week last week. Chubb coming back. Keenan Allen, he's due, like even against New England. I think that's going to be a pretty high scoring game. Hit the over. I like the Spartans' chances, but just the way things have been going for him, you can't really pick them. So I got to go with Dr. Shea, especially after 20 from Aaron Jones last night. Chase going against the Jets. I don't know.
It's fucked up, bro.
What do you think of this one, Ross?
Yeah, spicy Thursday night football. Like you said earlier, tough for Connor to have 20 yards and 2 TDs, and that killed me as well. But I think if I'm the Sandman, I like where I'm at. D-Hop had 2 catches, didn't really play a lot of the game, had a TD called back, so that was nice. That ended up being, and Edmonds finally got into the end zone for him. Looks like he's already slid Kirk into that spot. I don't know if I love Schultz playing without Dak. Allen against Miami, Diggs against Miami is pretty juicy. for the Nets, but I'm going to go with the big bro. I think he's going to, there's just a pure dislike in this rivalry right now. And a lot of talk from the sand per usual, but I feel like he's just going to will himself to a victory over Mac. And it just feels like Mac doesn't have it this year. And I could see him sliding in Kadarius Toney on Sunday morning and then Toney not even playing Monday night. But I'm going to give the slight nod to Sandman. Again, this is a real big clown implication type matchup. There's a lot of spice in the group for it. Love it, but can't see it being much more than that.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'll say on this matchup is last I checked, Tony was still in instead of Javonte Williams, and I was fucking laughing at C-Mac, just like, what are you doing? But looks like he finally, I wasn't going to say anything on the pod, but he made the switch, so. Giving himself a chance this week, at least. No Le'Veon Bell, but I hope to God Sandman wins that one. Want to take this one, too?
Yeah, I'll take this one. Only one that didn't have action going into Thursday night. We'll see what the ACLs are made of. They want to consider themselves a tied for first place team. Well, you got the Bloody Sundays. Just looking into it, I think this is Lane sitting there at 117. You'd think he'd be comfortable, but I don't know. I want to say the Sundays are going to come back to reality a little bit and not be above 125 every week. But Swift's been questionable the past couple of weeks, and I don't know. It feels like Ridley's projections are a little high there. No Devontae definitely hurts. I'm gonna give the nod to the Bloodies. I think they probably pull this out. I think Cup cedes a little bit of his production over to his man Woods, but you got to feel like Henderson's gonna be running a lot of that ball in the second half. Kamara, tough matchup, but you saw what he could do when the Russians not going, and then I think JT's got a good one. So it's going to be tough to beat. I think this is probably the premier matchup of the week, and I can see it being coming down to, Mahomes on Monday night. Mahomes Kelsey, that's actually really spicy. Yeah. I can see Mahomes needing to outscore Kelsey by like 10, and him probably ended up going like 25, Kelsey like 10, 12, something like that. And it's a tight one, but that'll be a sick dynamic for Monday Night Football. But I'm going to give the slight edge to Bloodies, but I can see the Tears pulling this one out.
Yeah. Only thing I have to say here, Fournette, 13-4, felt high to me.
Tough rush defense.
Saints D is underrated. Yeah, they're pretty nice.
That's the thing with the projections on ESPN. It's like, how does that not come into account? Like,
yeah, and I don't know. Whatever. Red Zone Rockets. Yeah, Red Zone Rockets. Like we said, continuing the fight without CMC here. Robinson going against just what looked like a defeated Seattle Seahawks team. Like Winston in the rain on prime time, that is a game you gotta win. Like Jameis Winston, we've seen it time and time again on prime time in the rain. Like he's not good, and somehow Geno Smith made him look like the premier quarterback in that game. And the defense, I don't think it was. Like I said, it was Winston, not really the defense. So Robinson, I said he's not going to be over 20 more than twice, but I still think he'll get close to that projection. I think that's a juicy matchup. Hubbard, I think, who knows when CMC is coming back, if this is his last chance to prove it. It's a pretty nice matchup. And same with DJ Moore. He's been quietly one of the top 12, 15 wide receivers in the league. Sutton, I think Judy's supposed to play this week, so that could damper into those points. But again, Washington's D has been one of the more disappointing units in the NFL this year. So, and obviously Kyle Pitts coming to life. A lot of action for D Brown in that Carolina Falcons.
Oh yeah,
game. That might be an ugly game, but he will be tuned in. That's for sure.
I got Patterson in that as well.
Yeah, that is just two teams that are just not that fun to watch this year. But they've got exciting players, that's for sure. Like all of those guys are solid, but it's just, I don't know. Between Darnold and Matt Ryan, neither of them are very pretty playing football. Kyler Murray last night, obviously, that's probably the story of this matchup so far, obviously, with only 9. You were saying you want a close cards matchup, and here we go with one. But I don't know. You got like you said, A.J. Brown turned it on last week. You need a lot out of him. Robert Woods, you're hoping can get some action, and that's a juicy matchup as well. Gesicki, they're going to be down, and they're playing him like a tight end or like a wide receiver. I don't know if Parker is out again, and what's the status with Will Fuller, but I assume he's going to continue to get 8 to 10 looks, which is
that'll factor into if Gesicki plays or over Goddard or not.
Yeah, for sure. And then Sanders, is he locked in at the flex?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think absolute best case, Saquon goes in and as a true game time decision. I'm just not going to risk that for Monday night.
Oh yeah, true. That's what I was thinking. But
I mean, I could play Collins, but he's game time as well. I like this. It's basically tight end, maybe defense that I'll make some adjustments.
But. Yeah, I think Sanders is a nice play too, because honestly, like I'd give the edge to the Rockers, especially getting 9 from your quarterback. So Sanders, we've seen, can be a big play type of guy. So could be nice.
Yeah, I mean, we don't like where we're at. Like you mentioned, just quickly, Deb, the Robinson through Sutton, all very juicy matchups. So hoping ATL's defense comes to play on Sunday, but we don't like where we're at. But a lot of game left. I think just quickly, Thursday night football, it's either you're really high or really low going into the weekend. So I was hoping I was going to be at like 25, sitting there feeling good, but we're sitting here at 9, which isn't good. And my whole squad's going at 1 p.m. as well. So we're going to have to put up a number for D Brown to chase.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that. That's like me and Dab last weekend. Last matchup here. I'll just say a quick word on it and then give it over to you. The Dim Dogs are going down this week. I'm calling it. I think this is Kirch's week, especially getting only 16 from Rodgers last night. Melvin Gordon and Mark Ingram, obviously not the juiciest running back pair in there right now, but I don't think Mark Ingram ends up getting the start for him. Hill is due. Chris Godwin, I think, is due after the big Mike Evans week last week. Noah Fan, I like a lot at the tight end position. And then Metcalf got a juicy matchup as well. So I think Metcalf and Hill are really going to see, and Joe Burrow are all going to really put up points for Kirch. And then with Gibson and Eckler, I think the injury concerns, I think Eckler going against that Pats D, I don't know if they're going to be able to run it very well. And like I said, I think that's just a Keenan Allen game. So Gronk, I don't even know if he's going to play. And if he does, how's he going to look? How much they're going to play him? I've got the feeling here that it's going to be the Trippers. So I'm going with the Trippers despite what the projections say.
We'll roll with that. I know we're tight on time. I think just quickly that the Cards D was a little questionable. I know the wideouts were hurt there, but still you're betting against Rodgers in prime time. Doesn't usually go well.
Yeah, you called that out. That was definitely a pretty fair point. All right.
We can roll through these quick. I do like, as much as you're hating on the Dogs running backs this week, and I don't think Heckler plays, to be honest, but I think Damian Harris really goes off this week. And I know Chargers are bottom, if not last, against running backs. So I mean, Bill's already obsessed with running the ball, especially with Mac Jones under center. So I think he really feeds Harris. Harris probably goes for Harris could have had a huge game last week if they didn't bench the starters. So I think he gets fed a lot, probably like 15 to 20 carries. Hopefully they're winning in the second half. And I think he goes over that to like high teens, low 20s.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, I'm going to. I thought this was an absurd number. I don't think Minnesota's defense is that good. I don't know really what ESPN's thinking with this projection. Like, that's really where this is coming from. Zeke's gonna score a touchdown, especially if Dak's out. So, yeah, I just was combing through, and this one just stuck out like a sore thumb. 12-7 for Zeke.
You sent that, and I was like, how the hell is Zeke 12.7 coming off a bye where Dak's hurt and might not play? Those projections may change, but I don't know. I agree. I like this pick a lot.
Yeah. I mean, Pollard's at like 7-8, so it's not like they're like that. They're projecting like less than 20 for them combined. It's like, that's fucking stupid. So that's my over. I forget where the standings are at, but I'm definitely down. So I'm looking for lock.
Yeah, I've been hot. I think I've gone 2-0 the past couple of times. We'll need our producer to get us some stats. Quickly, Chubb, That just, again, this is more playing the projection game, like 16.4. That's big, coming off an injury. Pittsburgh's D's pretty good. They got shredded by Collins a couple of weeks ago. So I feel like they're going to be a little pissed off, and rivalry game. It just feels like a low score. And Baker hurt too.
No Hunt, no
Chubb,
Baker, little Chubsty.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like if they get down, then Chubb's not going to be playing. I just don't love 16.4. That just felt high. I think he'll probably end up low teens if he stays, even if he finds the end zone, like 30 or touchdown with 70, like 13. That feels about what Chubb's going to do this weekend for me.
Yeah. So last my over pick, I go with just straight numbers. This one's just straight anecdote for me. B Cooks was pissed that Mark Ingram got traded. That was his boy. He's playing with fucking General Mills out there. Does not enjoy playing for the Houston Texans this year. And then his number one guy gets traded. I mean, you can take that two different ways. You can say, hey, he's going to go off, or he's going to crumble. And I just think, he's probably not as engaged. Mills is probably a little bit more locked in with some of the younger guys. 12.1 maybe feels like a lot to me. So
Ramsey too.
He did that. Thank you. Forgot to mention that. So all of those things combined, again, we need locks here at this point in the year. So it's early, but it's getting early fast for me. I think I'm 3-5, and you're like, I might even be worse than that, honestly.
We'll have to have an update.
We'll look back at it, but I'm looking for locks, feeling good about these two. I think Cooks is pissed, locked down, and not scoring.
I gotta say, as the person who puts this together every week, whether it's over or under, Brandon Cooks is definitely over the past 2 years been the most featured player.
Wow.
He's a really nice guy.
Because I look up a fucking new picture of him every week, and it's like, damn, he's definitely on it the most.
Real quick, interesting stat I found last night. Jonathan Taylor leads the NFL in red zone carries with 35, but he only has 2 touchdowns. Henry's got 24, and he's got 8 touchdowns and 102 yards. And there's actually someone who's got 1 more yard than him in the red zone and leads the NFL in the red zone, and that's Nick Chubb. So both of Dappy's backs have the 2 highest yards in the red zone. But the thing with Chubb is that he doesn't fucking score in the red zone, and he also only gets the ball 48% of the time that the Browns, or like when they run it, it's only to him 48% of the time, whereas Henry gets it 100% of the time they've run the ball in the red zone this year. So pretty interesting. Chubb's effective, but he doesn't get it enough, and he doesn't score. So
that might be Ernest's backfield, to be honest.
Oh, you can go fuck right off.
Just some interesting stats we were looking at last night. Fantasy Pros is a great site if you guys are interested.
I follow them on Twitter. They're good.
Yeah, they're real good. You guys got anything else? That's all I've got. I'm ready to go.
No, I know we tried to keep this quick, but it's been a couple of weeks. We had a lot to say, Enjoy it, boys.
I hate to do it to you on your birthday weekend, Shan, but you're going down.
Whew. We'll see, Spartans. We'll see.
Happy Halloween, boys. Enjoy the weekend.
Good luck, everyone. Fuck the Rockers. When the mama say